Hello, darlings. I am Cassandra. Welcome and welcome back to my channel. Thank you so much for coming. So, the very first spell I ever cast, or my very first magical ritual in my life, I was 7 years old, but I didn't know it was magic per se. But I remember it. I'll never forget as long as I live. So I was reading the book, Are You There, God? It's Me, Margaret. Oh, I love that book. I think it's one of the best books I've ever read in my life. And I remember just feeling like I could understand what Margaret was going through. She wanted her period. And she was asking God, she was naming all the girls in school, such and such got her period. Everybody has their period with me, God. Like, what's up with that? And I was reading the book at the time, and I was 7 years old, but I was like, no, God, I don't want my period, but I really want big boobs. I did. That was my thing. Because my mother is like the most beautiful woman I've ever seen in my life, right? I love my mom. And I remember she was getting ready for one of her friends' weddings, and she had on this powder blue evening gown, and she wore her hair like in like those big bouffant curls on the top. And she had on like this powder blue nail polish and powder blue heels, and she looked so beautiful. I would never forget. And my father, there was a 28-year age difference in my parents, and my father was like deeply in love with my mother. Like, people always thought my father was my grandfather, but I'm the child of a torrid love affair, by the way. But yeah. But anyway, my mother was just so beautiful, and my father thought she was just like the most beautiful woman he'd ever seen, and I loved the way he loved her and the way he cherished her. But her boobs were always just like boom, right? And I just thought, I'm 7 years old, and I'm just thinking, God, I don't really need anything else. I don't need a house or a car or anything. I'm 7, but I really want big boobs. So I took 3 dimes, and I waited for a full moon. At this time, I hadn't read this anywhere. No one I know was practicing what we would call magic, or maybe wishing on a star. I don't know. I just know that maybe it was too much Disney. I don't know. But all I know, child, is I decided that I wanted big boobs, and I was going to do something about it. So I took 3 shiny dimes. I waited for a full moon, and I placed those 3 dimes on the windowsill under the full moon. And I spoke to God from the depths of my soul, from the depths of my 7-year-old soul. I said, God, more than anything in the world, more than Barbie dolls for Christmas, more than I just want big boobs, right? And I put those, and I said, and please take this offering. I don't know if I was trying to pay God off or what, but I knew I was serious. I was crying. I was obsessed. I was like, I want big boobs. So I left my 3 shiny dimes on the windowsill of my bedroom window, and the full moon was almost like it was like I thought the moon was God's face. It was just a really bright moon. I was born on a full moon, by the way. Yeah. But anyway, I placed those dimes there, and that was the very first time I had ever like really asked for something, right? So now what's interesting about it is that my aunt, she says, do you remember how obsessed you were with having big boobs? Now, guys, this was interesting. So my entire life, up until I had my son at 25, I was flat chested. Yes, I was the president of the Itty Bitty Titty Committee. And I had grown to be a proud leader. Yeah. And I didn't, I was, Cosmopolitan was like my favorite magazine. And I was always doing some exercises, trying to get them to grow, but they wouldn't grow. But what I loved is I could wear like these evening gowns with spaghetti straps. I didn't wear a bra, like, for what, right? And I could wear tube tops, and I could just wear whatever I want to wear. And I just embraced it. I had this lace white bikini set that oh my God, I love that lace bikini set. I had forgotten. I mean, I was still doing the exercises. I was still wishing they would grow and be big. But I had, kind of just had resorted to, this is my life. This is who I am. But I, not consciously though, because I was still doing exercise and any book or anything I could find to help get them to grow, but they wouldn't grow. So after I had my son, so now remember I was 7 when I placed my 3 dimes under the full moon, asking God for this, really big favor. And and he just like took his sweet little time. Not really. I'm just thinking about it now, at almost 60. So it's a different story. But so anyway, I have my son and my body changes, and I'm just like, wait, who is this? I couldn't believe the changes that had taken place in my body. Like, no, like, these stretch marks and like these, these boobs are like hanging, like, God, no, like, whoa. So I called, my ex-husband, my kid's father, and I was just like, I just can't believe look at my body and everything, like these stretch marks and all of these things that are wrong. And I wanted him to say something like, you're still beautiful to me. Don't, you're still, he was like, Sandy, get a baby back then. Get a genie baby back. Give it back. If you can't accept the changes in your body because you just had a baby, he was like, just give it back. Like, he's yelling at me. And I was just like, I don't want to give it back. He said, well, that's the exchange. That's the price you get. You have your baby. He's healthy and there's nothing wrong with him. And I don't want to hear this mess from you. I was like, okay. So anyway, not the answer I was looking for, but it put me in check. Yeah. I was like, okay. But anyway, I it's like my body had changed, and I was just really like still not happy. Like, so now I have boobs, and I'm like, wait a minute. This is not what I was expecting. This is not what I want. And I just kind of, got over it, right? And adjusted to the changes, going from like nothing to like a D. It was like, oh, like this, what about my bikini guy? What about all the things that I had acquired, while I was trying to, while you took your sweet time getting yeah, you took your sweet time getting those boobs to me, and now I don't have anything to wear. Like, but anyway, so I've always had this, I don't want to say, I want to say a very probably like most women, a negative view about myself. Like, if it wasn't my boobs, and it was, oh, why do I have to be dark skinned? Why do I have to be this? Why I have to be that? But anyway, after time had passed, I kind of like, wished, I remember just thinking, oh, how I wish I didn't have big boobs. Like, seriously, that was my wish. Like, they're just, they're hot. Yeah! I gotta, sometimes I want to wear something really cute. I can't buy this. I can't afford, because of the way I'm made, the way I'm built. And I just went through a long period of just wishing they were small again. Can you believe that? And so I had this friend who said that he practiced his own brand of magic. He said you never want to be a wankster, which I never looked it up. I don't know if it's a term he made up or not. And I said, what's a wankster? He said it's a person who asks God for something, and when they get it, they're never happy with it. He said when you practice magic and you ask for something, you should always be appreciative, because you don't know when it's going to come and how it's going to come. But you should be, because he said, just imagine, he said, just think of it like this. He said, somebody asks you for something and you go out of your way to give it to them or to manifest it. And then when they get it, they're not appreciative. He said, how would you feel? I said, well, it usually pissed me off. He said, well, I'm not saying that, that God is like us. He said, but it's just always be appreciative of the things you ask for. But that was interesting to me. So maybe, but I still, I didn't apply it to me in my first little spell asking for boobs and then getting them and wondering like what, like I don't really want them now. And then I remember not too long ago, not too long ago. So guys, aging it can be challenging, I think. So it's challenging because you look in the mirror and you're like, you're not the person you still have the heart of who you were at 20 and 30 and 40, but you look at your earth suit and you're like, okay, like who is that? Like who, you know what I mean? Like your hair turned gray, and I mean, guys, you get wrinkles, and it's just a whole bunch of changes start to happen, and you just start feeling like, oh my Jesus, like what is this? What is going on, right? So as I was aging, and I thought, I still have issues like with the boobs, and I'm just like, oh my God, why are they? What is this? They keep growing, and I just wish they were flat again. And I'm, just looking in the mirror, complaining about my body and myself. And so about a year ago, I'm in Barnes & Noble with my granddaughter. And Barnes & Noble, their prices are very... Take a moment to visit my Etsy shop, Cassandra Magic World, and you will see a plethora of metaphysical tools to align with your goals and your dreams. Each magic talisman comes with instructions as well as a feng shui chart and how to make changes in your home and how to charge your sigil. So Barnes & Noble is expensive for no reason. And, so everything is like really, it could be the smallest toy, but it's like $30. So my granddaughter have these two big baskets of toys, and she's trying to convince me into purchasing magnetic sand for her. So there's this big pack of magnetic sand, which is any parent's absolute nightmare. I don't know who decided to create. Let's get back on point. But so she has this big box of magnetic sand, and it's all these different colors, and I think it's probably like maybe $40. And I'm thinking, how are we gonna get this out the carpet? Like, you know what I mean? Like, this is just a disaster. Like, there is no way I'm about to spend $40 on magnetic sand. But this is my grandbaby, right? And I asked God for Savannah too, so that's a whole nother story. But anyway, so we're sitting there, and we're standing right in front of the escalators. She has all these toys, and I'm thinking, can I find something to switch out the magnetic sand, like so I can talk her into something else, maybe a talking dinosaur or something. And I get a phone call, and I see that it's from the hospital, right? And I'm just, so I answer the phone, and it's like, hi, this is, blah, 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 blah. Is this Cassandra? Yeah, what's up? Are you calling to change? I'm thinking like nothing about the phone call. And the woman is, she's speaking just so, like, I know that they've probably been trained to be very emotionally distant, right? And she just said they found a lump in your breast and blah 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 blah. We need you to come in. Like I was thinking like, oh my God, she must have the wrong Cassandra. This must be the wrong number. My granddaughter, we have this 2-week basket of toys. I've never had any like, whoa, how could she be possibly calling this Cassandra? And she's talking like telling me what to expect and what to do, and I am just, it was almost like Twilight Zone, or it was like I was experiencing an out-of-body experience. Like she can't be talking to me. This can't be a real phone call, right? And my granddaughter is just looking at me like, who is it, Grambo? And I'm just thinking, oh, it's nothing. And when I hung the phone up, of course my grandbaby, of course I purchased the magnetic sand. And everything, I couldn't believe. And I didn't tell anybody. I didn't tell my kids. I didn't tell anybody until I made sure that everything was fine. But I remember in that moment how I felt numb and how I had been, taking life for granted, right? Taking my health for granted, taking every day for granted, not thinking about my little, that I had asked for these boobs, right? But I remember just feeling like, no, we're gonna play with magnetic sand. So I purchased the magnetic sand, everything that was in both baskets. It was probably ended up being like a $300 bill from Barnes and Noble. And then that night, my granddaughter and we played in magnetic sand until I would say, maybe around 3:30, 4 a.m. in the morning, just making all these different things. And by the time we finished playing with this magnetic sand, you couldn't distinguish one color from the other. And it wasn't too bad because I put, like a tablecloth down and we had a ball. And I would say, okay, Savannah, are you sleepy? Yeah. She was like, no, Grambo, we're going to make one more thing. And I just thought, I enjoyed being completely in the moment with my granddaughter, because I'm thinking, what if I'm not here to play in magnetic sand with my grandbaby, right? And what if, so I didn't want to tell anybody. And I just remember I had a moment, right? And I knew what it was. And this is how I think, guys. I had asked God for something, and then I criticized it, and then I wasn't grateful. I never thanked God for those boobs. I never once said, you know what, they're here. This is my first little spell. You came through. Thank you. And no, it was nothing like that. It was like, what's up with you? But I remember that next morning when my grandbaby was still asleep, I had a talk with God. And I had a talk with my body. I said, look, dude, I have been so disrespectful to you. I have not appreciated you. I have put you down. I have been ungrateful for you. And I want you to know I am truly sorry. And I love you. I love you for being in my life and for nursing my daughter, because I remember when I had my daughter, she was probably about maybe 2 months old, and I looked at her and I said, I can't believe she's still alive, and the only sustenance she has had is the milk from me. And I was like, I must be magical. This must be something special. I thanked my boobs. I was like, I'm sorry for wishing you were something else or smaller, and never appreciating the gift that you have given to me. And I promise you that if you could forgive me, I would never look down on you ever again. Cry my little heart out. I thank God for my boobs for the very first time in my late 50s. It was very late. Thank you. Thank the universe for coming through. And I was like, I never said thank you, and that I appreciate that you actually came through. And my first magical wish, and I've always just foo-fooed it. But if you can I said, I don't even know if I have a right to ask you to let me, you know, be healthy because I've been so rude. But I'm just gonna say thank you. So after I got the news and everything was good, I was with my auntie, um, and we prayed in the car, and I cried so hard. I said, God, somebody did good news today, and I want to pray for them, and I want to send them love and light. I want to, I want to pray for every woman who's ever struggled with her body, her changing body. And anyway, so my auntie and I, we held hands and we prayed really hard in the car. And I wanted to send love and light to every woman who had ever gone through anything with her breast, and just to thank God for for sparing me and for blessing me and apologizing again for taking so long to say, thank you. Yeah! Thank you for coming through on my very first ritual, my very first magical ritual. Now, I know some people like to say, oh, well, you were going to get him anyways in your G's, but there are people in my family who did not get them. Okay. And so we don't know, but the point of it is when you do magic and it comes to you in a, later, it comes in a way that's unexpected. It comes at a time that's unexpected. Like, I know people who ask for a wife or a husband, and when they get that husband, or all they do is complain about it. I'm done with all that. When I get what I want, I'm just gonna be like, God, thank you for coming through like gangbusters. Thank you, universe. Thank you, magic. But anyway, guys, I really hope this video helps someone. Thank you so much for watching. And I look forward to seeing you, darlings, in the next video.